Oh,
See,
Y'all.
she said y'all. I said howdy. What? Look, me and Tammy are in sync. What's up,
hey
partner?
there. How you doing?
What's up,
What? I
partner?
gotta get this here. Right? Boom, boom, boom. There
There
we
you
go.
go, partner. All right, all right. So here's what we're gonna do today, if you don't mind. So part of one of the things that we wanted to look at is what is, some attitude of what is the product we should push. How does the marketplace look like that? How is it being shown up? What does the search look like? And so we have a document for you that's pretty good. And with it, you're going to see some great clarity because while we all have our thoughts, the data, yeah, that really drives it. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, Nighthawk.
Yay.
And we got less than 30 minutes to deliver this to you. We will email this to you and we will have another deeper conversation next week about it. But I wanted to get this into your hands as fast as possible, Justin.
Okay. But
Okay.
I know you already said you're short on time, so we'll do mostly listening. But if there's that 1 second at the end, I would like to tell you I did find a competitor that is aligns with what I'm doing on the YouTube automation, and I feel like we can do it better. And if we found something that is doing and it's working, if we can copy what they're doing and do it better, I think there's a really good chance of blowing it out. So I'll show you that.
Cool. Cool. And side note, not to distract us, I do like that guy and I like what he's doing.
Which guy?
Automation.
What was
YouTube
that?
Paul.
automation. Yeah,
Paul.
this one's there.
Oh, okay.
All right, now Nighthawk, hit it, baby.
Okay, so Rook framed it pretty well. We go over the goal. I'm not going to take you all the way through every single word throughout the whole document, really, like Rook said. We're wanting to go over what we have, and then we'll set up a deeper conversation. We'll send it to you guys. You can read through it. There's some good stuff. So goal of the document is to get on the same page in terms of what it is our customer is looking for and us bridging that gap, right? And what I mean by that is a lot of the times as entrepreneurs, we'll get stuck and we will not call our service what our customer is asking for. So, meaning if somebody has trouble sleeping and they're Googling sleeping pills, well, the reality is they need a chiropractic adjustment because that's what's causing them not to sleep. But they don't search for chiropractors, they search for help sleeping. Do you get what I'm saying? So, if we're a chiropractor, we need to make sure to meet them where they're at and then bridge it so that they see us as the solution to their problem. Does that make sense? Okay. We utilize lots of search trends, our website data, competitor ad stats, lots of different data sources to do a lot of. Justin, you kind of called it out. Who's doing this well and what can we learn from them, right? A lot of the times we fast forward and we end up skipping the first 5 to 6 months of testing. It saves tens of thousands of dollars in media spend because we already know what's going to work. We see other people doing it, right? All of this is made possible because you've given us a lot of your awesome input. We've put our input and we've looked at the data. It gives us clarity for a very clear go-to-market plan with whatever it is we want to sell. In this case, spoiler alert, credit restoration and business funding. And I'll put an asterisk on the word restoration and we'll circle back around to it because that's important. So I'll pause after each section. This section is the keyword research. So after we look at the keyword research, I'll pause to go over any questions before we look at competitors. So keyword research. We look at the keywords for a lot of different reasons. The first reason is obvious. It's when we want to buy keywords, which ones do we want to buy? Which ones make sense, right? It gives us an idea of a keyword plan for an ad group in Google Ads. We also use it as our content subject strategy, meaning we're able to look at the data trends, see which keywords people are searching and in what order, and then we're able to develop content around that because we know what they're looking for. So it doesn't only just influence what keywords we buy for the ads, it influences what we say in the ads and what we say at all across the website. And we've got some really good examples of that. So this one's business funding. So we'll look at a keyword. This keyword is business funding, and we're looking at all of the keywords sorted by relevance according to Google. What that means for us is when somebody searches business funding, and I'm sure you guys will relate to the pattern, you will Google something, you will see the results, you will go back and refine your search based off of what comes up. An example would be somebody searching business funding, seeing the results that come up, and then refining the search to, well, I don't just want like general funding. There's a lot of options there. I actually want a loan. So then they go back to Google and search business loans instead of business funding, right? You see how it's kind of sequential like that?
Just business proposing.
And this is the same keyword as we were just looking at. This is just a breakdown of what I'm talking about. So we call these phases, right? When they search in order like that. So for business funding, we can see a lot of people start in what we call the educational phase. They're looking at their options. They're educating themselves on what it is that they're searching. The exploratory phase is when they're shopping around. So they're actually looking at what the different options are. You'll see people switching in between grants to loans, kind of defining what it is they actually want. And this is because they searched business funding and saw that it includes grants and loans and lines of credit, right? So they are narrowing in themselves for us. When they get to the decisive phase, they're ready to take action. Typically, they have gone through the first two phases first, but not always. You'll see an example here is people are looking for business funding. They look for business loans. They look for small business loans because they see that there's a difference in the way that those companies work, right? And then they find out about cabbage funding. Have we heard about cabbage funding? Justin or the team?
I've heard of cabbage, but I'm not sure if cabbage is what you mean by cabbage funding.
Okay, no. So cabbage funding is specifically one of Amex's programs for small business loans, right? So a lot of different businesses qualify. It's very topical right now. So we're looking at people looking for business funding. They're seeing their options, and a large percentage of them are then searching for cabbage funding. I haven't done a deep dive on cabbage funding. From the surface, it looks like a very inclusive loan program by Amex, right? You can get anywhere from like 2K to like 50K. It's a small amount, but it is super, super popular right now in terms of what people are looking for. So that's something interesting to note. Yeah, so kind of went through that. Now we're going to look at business loans, because that was one of the things that we saw when people search for business funding. They break themselves down into different groups. So this is business loans. When people are looking for business loans, the vast majority of them are small businesses. So this ends up working out in our favor, because I believe this is our target demo. But it's important to note that businesses who are over 50 to 100 employees are not looking for the same things. So we want to make sure we're playing in the right pond. Small business loans are super popular, and they're overrun by SBA style stuff. Do we offer any sort? I know what we do. Do we have any sort of programs, or do we endorse, or do we leverage SBA loans at all?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We are very big on minority certifications and helping everyone access government contracting. It all falls under the SBA 8A. So there's a big overlap between initially, it's the educational phase, which is where everyone's learning, and that's where people are getting certified. After people get certified, they're now more into the exploring. They're still educating, but how to get into the contracts and bidding. And so there's a consulting phase. So yeah, it definitely overlaps with the SBA on the 8A, and probably even across the board, but most definitely on the 8A.
Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. That's an awesome response. It's absolutely something we should write a lot of content about. And when I say write a lot of content, I mean do blog articles about it, etc., because people are asking these questions, right? And when somebody is looking for small business loans, it is owned by SBA style stuff, right? Everybody's either SBA links themselves to SBA, or it's people talking about SBA stuff, which is obvious, right? Small business loans, SBA go hand in hand. You'll also see PPP loans, which I thought was interesting. That's somebody who knows what type of loan they're going for, and they have a specific reason for going for that one. So
but the PPP is expired, just so you know. That's a thing of the past. Those are probably there because of Google Trends or what's been up and going. But the PPP is a thing of almost the past. We only talk about it because
of COVID. It was during the COVID times and things like that, right?
Right.
People still are looking for it though, because they remember that as oh, I could have done that, or I did do that. I want to pull that up. So they're still searching for it. I hear you on, it's just not a thing anymore, right? But those people looking for the PPP loans, that's what I'm saying is, so people who are looking for a loan that doesn't exist could be in our ideal target audience if we were willing to offer an option that, hey, listen, like That's not even a thing anymore, but this is, right? This is actually what you're looking for. That's the conversation kind of that we're having here.
I
That's
understand
great,
what you're doing.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is what they're searching, and this is a perfect example. If they don't know that it's not a thing anymore, they just, in their mind, obviously there was a lot of buzz around the PPP loans and everybody taking them and all that stuff, so it's topical. But yeah, I definitely think there's some overlap there with what we want to pull to. This is also the first time I'm going to highlight. I know we're looking at running ads, and our recommendation is Google Ads just because of the type of campaign that we're looking at. The costs are really high on a couple of these keywords. So when we look at small business loans, we've already identified that that's a really general term. People are just educating themselves on it, right? Yet other companies like us are willing to pay up to $50 per click. And I'm telling you that that keyword is not converting like they want it to, right? Straight up, because it's too general, and we can see that they're not ready to purchase yet. They don't know the details further on that they're looking for, like whether or not it's a startup. Most of these business loan companies out there don't work with startups at all, and they straight up say no startups in the marketing, right? And so that's something where people searching for small business loans here, these advertisers are paying $50 on the high end per click, not per lead, per click, and it's not producing anything. Whereas we can scroll down and see startup business loans is a much cheaper cost per click. They're much more educated to the cycle. If we wanted to go after startups, that's a super profitable keyword for us versus what we were looking at before. So this is kind of where the media dollar savings come into play, because we're not going to waste our time spending on an expensive keyword for 2 months for us to A/B test it and just find out that it doesn't work.
With that being said, gentlemen, I'm sorry, my name is Donald with Cap Ladder. Thank you all for having me. Just to that point, on the cheaper search, that's a lot of the core product, the business credit builder. If you get them in at the cheaper cost, it's going to lead to those other loans. It's the cheaper way. The entry is actually more appealing because everyone's familiar with cash advances, all that stuff. So when they see something that's more unique and they're searching that, it narrows the people down to real buyers. And then again, we end up getting them into SBAs, MCAs, all that, just from having them in the credit builder program.
For sure. And so you're describing exactly the point of like why we set up the strategy like this, right? Is we do this to meet them where they are at and asking the questions, so then we can bring them into our world and give them the world, right? But we got to start somewhere. And if we try to give them the world up front, obviously they're going to be like, no, that's not what I want, right? One of the biggest differentiations that we are going to need to do, because there are a lot of startups looking for business loans. If we do not work with startups, I feel like I know in what capacity that we do. We are going to need to be careful with startups, because I feel like the startups are a good candidate for the credit repair services, correct? So that we can get them into a situation where later on they can get funding. We just need to make sure in our ads, if we don't want startups, we need to make sure that we filter out the startups. Because there's a lot of overlap in between small businesses looking for loans and startups looking for loans. Do we do anything with startups?
Yeah, startups would need access to this business EIN and the business credit building. I mean, they don't even.
Right, I understand that part, but a startup looking for a loan is not going to click on an ad for credit repair. Does that make sense? So, and I'll get to that in a second. I will talk about the repair side of things.
Yeah, and I don't mean to cut you off again, but just don't use the word repair, because it's definitely not a repair. It's a builder.
I'm actually going to say, and spoiler alert, we're jumping ahead here. We're going to use the word restoration because that's what other people call it.
Okay, just as long as we're clear though that when we say credit repair, we're talking personal, and when we're saying restoration or credit building, we're talking about the business side.
They don't differentiate it like that. So when we look at this screenshot that I just pulled up, I typed in, well, okay, so first off, because we're jumping around here.
All right.
It comes up in one of the earlier keywords. Hold on.
Yeah, so, and let me jump in real quick. So we're not necessarily right now talking about the exterior outward communication. What we're saying is this is the behavior of people, how they identify with this, whether it be in alignment with us or not, whether it be true or not, because we absolutely know the difference between repair and build. But we're trying to meet them where they are. to then bridge them to where we want to go. So that's all we're presenting is data.
Yeah, there isn't enough search data for credit building to return any results. And when we look at credit repair, there is no differentiation between business and personal, believe it or not. Even though the keyword we type in to look at research for is business credit repair specifically, it automatically defaults, I say, back to personal because the word business isn't in any of these searches. When you look at business credit repair, the number one thing that people end up going towards, according to the Google research, is not actual repair, but it's credit dispute companies. And so there's a lot of overlap where, and sweeps, right? So you can see credit sweep pop up too. There's a lot of overlap that I don't think we want to get caught up in. However, when you start looking at here at the bottom, people who have dug through all of this end up searching for best credit restoration companies. And so that can be, and I know we're talking about building, but to the consumer, I do not think they see a difference. When we look at the searches for credit restoration, it's exactly what we're looking for, with the exception of maybe recovery program isn't exactly our ideal audience. The implication here is if we can restore your credit, we can build your credit. I don't think there's going to be any miscommunications on the client side because of that. I'm just pointing out that they don't use the words credit repair. And we have credit repair as listed as our service on our website and a few different other places. This is market research telling us that they do resonate more with the word and search for credit restoration. There's not a lot of people looking for the credit repair. I also did not see a lot of differentiation between personal and business. We are going to need to do that with our messaging. So if we only want to work with businesses, obviously we do, we just need to say it's for businesses only, right? No personal in the ad. And that will help filter that.
Nighthawk,
Have you tried searching business
say that,
business credit cards?
I
just wanted to jump in here and say that you make a whole lot of sense, and I really appreciate this presentation. And thank you very much. Now I'm going to back up and say, keep doing a good job, and I'm gonna go quiet again.
I love it.
We do appreciate it. You did a really good job. The only suggestion may I ask is that if after all this, can you just do a check, a cross-reference with everything you just did with searching business credit cards and see how that search might compare with everything that you're doing?
Sure. So I'll make a note right now. If you guys come up with any others, I'm happy to take a specific look. So the reason that these keyword screenshots are here, and I know we're getting pressed on time, so I'm not going to go through every single one, but it's funding, loan, startup, cabbage funding's in there, EIN loans in there. So we start at the surface and we pick a rabbit trail and follow down, right? And so most of the time, these keyword screenshots build off of each other. If there are any others that you would like me to look into, obviously there's a lot of words in the dictionary, so we can't necessarily go through every single one, but definitely note them down, send me an email and be like, what about this? What about this? We might find some, we call them golden nuggets, right? Where buried in some of this research, we might find a new term that a lot of people are resonating with. Are we cool to look at?
Hey, Sonia. Hi, Sonia. Let's say hi, Sonia. Donald, say hi, Sonia. Sonia's here. We're always talking about you. She's a really good customer, and she's a fan. She loves what we're doing here too. And I just want to take a moment. She's here. God bless.
Hi, Sonia.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Sonia.
You're on mute, Sonia, but hello. It's a very special pleasure to have you here. Oh, okay, yeah, her voice, she's still having a hard time talking. But we'll continue listening, Rook and Nighthawk.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so competitor breakdown real quick. So have we heard of Biz2Credit before? There's so many funding companies. It's not.
Yes, I have.
They're big enough to where I would be shocked if nobody here have, or if nobody here has. They're a really good model. They're a really good model because of a couple different things. So one, their first fold. So fold is a term that we use from our print days. It means when you pick up a newspaper before you turn the page, right? That first fold, what you see, this is their first fold of their website. So the first thing that you see when you go there and you click is an application form where it asks them the 3 most important questions. We will absolutely model this on our form. We have used this style on previous funding campaigns, and it's been super successful. So I'm not surprised to see that they do it too. So we ask them how much the business needs, we ask them what they need it for, and we ask them how fast they want it. So we're checking boxes in the customer's mind here. and giving us some data points to be able to sell them when we talk. The main thing is that they feel good checking through and they're like, oh, like this person actually knows what I need the funds for, right? When they click down and click staffing or equipment or whatever it is, right? Let's see. They spend millions of dollars a year in advertising just on Google Ads, which is awesome for us because that's a lot of data for us to look through, right? When we're looking at this, they rank for over 30,000 organic keywords. Around 15,000 of that, or 14,400, is actual relevance. The others are old. They've been doing this a long time. They spend a lot of money bringing people to the website. These are their top keywords that they purchase for those millions of dollars in ad spend. Cabbage. How interesting, right? They spend $40,000 a month on cabbage, just the word cabbage. Lending Tree is another one. Chase Business Checking is another one. One of their biggest things, and I don't see this often. We do this a lot, but I don't see other people do this often. They're buying their competitors' names, obviously, right? So when you search for Lending Tree, Biz2Credit shows up right next to Lending Tree, right? That's something that
has anything to do with affiliate marketing, or they'll maybe having shell companies and they're doing businesses in the, because like, for example,
maybe
there's a company called not just Lendini, I'm trying to Yellowstone. They're considered to have an umbrella of businesses all under them, and all of those businesses, they're all lenders lending under the name Yellowstone. And so maybe there's an overlap. Maybe some of these guys are really the same company, maybe.
It could be. It could be. I'd say there's a very small chance. They don't usually. That's kind of public. It'll in the logo. It'll be like an Integra company or whatever, right? A lot of the times there's brand synergy in between. Like I see none of that. I see this as very likely as they're buying their competitors' names. Cabbage is a unique scenario because cabbage is
when you say that, does that mean like as if Ray was here and he wants to license out the Cashbox name? What do you mean by that?
I can run an ad for my company and target Cashbox as a keyword. So anybody who searches Cashbox will see my company too. You can buy any keyword you want, right? So if you want to buy the keyword and bid on the keyword of another lending company, you can. You're just competing with them for their name. You know what I mean?
I see. Yep. So you're marketing using the same hashtags or the same SEO words to try to bring in a little bit of that. I get it. Okay.
It's sneaky in a good way. So obviously there's times where that's not super like a great thing to do, but I think there's wisdom into how they're doing it. And I don't think they're being nasty. Like here are their ads. So these are their top performing ads. This is the top performing ad for this year so far, and this is the top performing ad from last year. They don't talk bad about their competition. They don't do anything of that, right? So if you're buying competitor keywords and slandering them, you're probably going to get flagged, but they're doing it pretty good. So when banks say no, we say yes is one of their big headlines that they use. Revenue-based financing, no startups, 100K annual revenue required, apply for funds now. They do a really good job filtering people out. This is probably because they get a lot of junk leads, which tends to happen with this sort of stuff because somebody will act like they have $1 million a year company when in reality they have $1,000 a year company, right? So they do weed all of that out pretty much up front. I think it's really smart. Immediate business funding. I don't know if obviously we're going to take the exact same angle here. However, they are addressing something big that people are asking for, which is the timeline. How long until I get my money is one of the big questions that people have. Okay. Any questions on the competitor or peer? There is a couple more. There's a little bit more data, but I know we're pressed on time. So.
Well, and I got to bounce. I can leave you for a couple minutes. I do have to go.
That's fine. So the last couple of minutes, I'll bring Nighthawk up to speed on the competitors I found, and he can fill you later with what I'm showing him, and then you guys can have this visit. And this meeting, this conversation here It's not just perfect for Donald, but for Lewis. Lewis does exactly what you're doing here, and he's the guy that you need to be talking about this, because your minds together are going up, because you just did an analysis that he probably could have already given you a chunk of, or you guys could have collaborated on this, because this is what you guys do together the best. He would have done. You guys can go back and forth and have.
By the way, FYI, I don't see Lewis. I got Ray and Sonia.
Lewis
so.
isn't here.
Oh, sure,
He can't.
Sonia. Lewis is right
Donald is here.
Yeah,
Donald
Lewis is
also
my partner. He wasn't able to attend. You know, due to the time change, he wasn't able to attend. So I would like to reschedule, obviously, with him.
I got to bounce. I appreciate y'all. Nighthawk, you're in
Pleasure.
charge.
I'll finish here with Nighthawk, and Rook will talk next time, and we'll set up an
God bless,
appointment so
Ruth.
that.
We'll talk to you next
Thank you.
time.
We'll talk soon. We get it.
Talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. So Nighthawk, it's just us, right? You got to deal with the punishment now.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I just texted my next call that I'm gonna be a few minutes late, so we got some time.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna just do a screen share here. I think I have screen sharing ability, so I'm gonna just do it. Now, this is going to the YouTube automation, and obviously I'm in a separate course, but this is where it all aligns and bridges together, coming back to business CINs and stuff like that. So I ended up finding sources. I think I did. I brought my book. I have my book. That's good. Practical. So before finding these competitors, already had this idea. And I was trying to find somebody who's doing what I'm doing so I can copy them, but do it better. And I found, this is a faceless channel. They do have a little section here where it's come by members only, and they have a little section. But the majority of their channel, and keep in mind, they have 966 videos and only 966,000 subscribers. But still, when you think about it, it's about 1,000 subscribers per video. So I want to go look at what they're doing, because they're doing exactly what I'm capable of doing. To make a video like this, they're first of all, they're focusing on giving information about finance.
Hi. Is your small business relying on an email inbox to handle customer service?
We all know that you're going to be rich one day. However, right now, you aren't quite there yet. Well, no worries, because until that day comes, there are a ton of ways to feel richer than you actually are. So here are 7 ways you can do just that, with the last one being the key to feeling abundantly wealthy. Number 1, increase your freedom of time. Have you ever asked yourself why you want to be rich? Like actually sat down, took out a piece of paper, and wrote down what your pursuit of money was rooted in? You see, when you listen to interviews of people
who...
So
in one day, he's getting 1,200 views. I mean, that's not a lot in comparison to what others are doing. But when I go search him up, and I go look up on Social Blade, right? And I go look at what he's doing, and this is low budget. You know, even if he's making between $1,600 and $25,000 a year off of this, and he's not even putting any real money or time into this. I mean, I know what it takes to do this. I've now prepared myself to be able to make videos like that, but I'm making them more interesting because I'm adding a criminal element. I'm making it more dramatic, it's not more cinematic yet because I need to get those people. But the thing is that I want you to have an idea, like, this is what I'm thinking of, because if I can bring people to a channel where instead of just here they say join and get their financial education course. So they're offering something for free for coming here. So at the same time, they're able to come here, get a whole bunch of information through these videos, and they'll also be able to come into a private section where I can post direct relationships, the videos that I already have with like Donald, these educational inside videos that people want to hear from specialists throughout the industry. We already have many of these documents and recorded. Maybe I can level it up here, but they are not doing so well on this. They're cutting a big corner here. So I don't feel like I have a lot of competition.
This AI tool will take your idea and create a complete book, complete with
Just to
design,
give you a
images.
feel, and then I'll give you a feel
Ever
of one of
wondered
my
what the
videos.
rich and famous have in their homes? Today, we're diving into the world of luxury living to see the most extravagant items that show off their wealth, provide amazing comfort, and display great style. From fancy decor to the latest technology, let's explore what makes these homes truly special. Number 1,
All right, so we're not gonna
high-end
watch the
home
whole
automated
thing. I just want to get you a feel for the video.
items.
Just so you
These
guys
spaces
see
are
what they're
often
doing.
crafted by renowned designers.
with this format too.
Luxury Kitchen provides all the
Yeah, you're familiar with this format?
Very.
Okay,
tools and
great.
space.
So now let's look at what I quickly did. I never looked at their channel before. It was just, how am I going to create novels? Something that's interesting, because YouTube is about people who are bored coming for entertainment. So downloads. Right. So even if I click, so I'll pick this one, I think. Yeah. So this is,
You need to watch this if you struggle with securing unsecured lines of credit. Mark's construction company was built on sweat. You need to watch this if you struggle with securing unsecured lines of credit. Mark's construction company was built on sweat and dreams. He poured his heart into every project, but lately things felt shaky. The company was facing a cash flow crunch. Getting new projects required upfront capital. Mark needed a loan, but his bank applications were rejected. He had always prided himself on being a resourceful businessman. Now his company's future seemed uncertain. He felt the weight of responsibility for his employees and their families. This was more than just a business challenge, it was personal. Mark wasn't alone. Many small business owners struggle with the link between personal and business credit. Traditional lenders often rely heavily on personal credit scores. This can be a major obstacle for entrepreneurs. They may have great business ideas, but limited personal credit history. Mark's story is a perfect example of this challenge. He had a solid business plan and a track record of success. But his past financial struggles were overshadowing his current potential. The traditional lending system felt like a maze. Mark felt trapped by his past mistakes. He needed a way to break free and build a credit future for his company. He knew he couldn't give up. His employees were depending on him. He had to find a solution to rebuild his credit and secure the funding he needed. This was about more than just his company's survival. It was about his integrity and commitment to his dreams. Mark started researching alternative credit building methods. That's when he stumbled upon the concept of trade lines. Trade lines are simply credit accounts listed on a credit report. Adding positive trade lines to his business credit profile could boost his score. This was like a ray of hope for Mark. He saw it as a legitimate way to strengthen his business credit. The idea is simple. Partnering with another company with good credit allows your business to benefit from their positive payment history. This association reflects well on your business's creditworthiness. Essentially, it's like borrowing the good credit of another company to bolster your own. This was the lifeline Mark had been searching for. It offered a way to break free from the cycle of personal credit dependence. Mark learned that trade lines come in various forms. He could explore options like becoming an authorized user on a reputable company's credit card, or adding his business to an existing trade line. Each option had its own set of requirements and benefits. Mark meticulously researched each one, comparing their potential impact on his credit score. He consulted with financial advisors to ensure he made informed decisions. He was determined to approach this with the same diligence and care he brought to his construction projects. He understood that building good credit takes time. He was prepared to put in the work and be patient. His optimism was returning. He could see a path forward for his company. Just when things were looking up, Mark faced a new obstacle. He received a credit card statement for a card he never opened. Someone had stolen his identity and was racking up debt in his name. Fear and frustration washed over him. This could derail all his efforts to rebuild his credit. He immediately reported the identity theft to the credit bureaus and the authorities. He meticulously reviewed his credit reports, flagging any suspicious activity. Mark took every step to mitigate the damage and clear his name. He learned the importance of proactive credit
So we don't have to
monitoring.
go through the whole
This
thing. I
experience
just
was a
wanted to
stark
give you that
reminder of
part
the
so you were able to see. So this evolved. Before I ever saw this channel, this was my idea, except that I wanted to add in the crime, because all these components are things that we sell, whether the identity theft monitoring, the credit repair, the trade lines, the credit, these are all tools. If I can make storylines that replicate real people, real businesses, that might involve real case law with problems that are really happening, and I make realistic issues that happen where people can become emotionally connected to the story, then I'll get viewers who want to watch us, who are learning while being entertained, and not so much just watching a video for education, where now they can come be a little bit of both. They know they're going to be learning, but they're going to be entertained with a little bit of drama, suspense, mystery. There'll be different things. Now, this was just the first version where I'm starting to add in the crime. And newer versions coming in, I want to add in more backstory on the criminal or whatever it might be, and make it so that you're really learning something. But it's sort of like a little series, really, but except that one episode doesn't really have to connect with the next. But long term, that might be a thing. But I've now found that there's a competitor doing what I'm doing. And by bringing that together, I can now drive organic leads into the website for doing EIN, credit building, and everything else that's associated with credit repair or identity theft.
Yeah, it's, I'm of the mindset that it's a numbers game. So when you look at these video channels that have all these, 1 million subscribers, it's because he's been consistent and he's been doing this for 5 years. So it's one of those things where it's not a matter of if we will go viral, it's math. So we will increase exposure by being consistent with high quality video uploads, and the more the better. There isn't even a rubric. If we could do one every day, that would be golden, but that's a lot. So people settle for a couple a week. Because once the reality is what we're doing now, once part of it catches traction.
That video that you saw me, that video you saw right there, probably took me about 30 minutes to make.
So from that perspective, again, if we can do one every day, that's the best case scenario. But once we see what works, it's not likely that every single video we do will get the same exposure, right? Not every single video is going to get 100,000 views. Once one does, that's the type of video we now make moving forward, right? So it's one of those things where we kind of need to just be ready to shift a little bit along the way. But the first and only real step is just posting the videos. And if we post them consistently and we continue to do so, you will absolutely see the traction that you're looking at.
So what I saw though is another guy, he's giving stories, right? Life lessons. So if I do a blend, this guy, depending on, they're not all really going viral, but there's something that this guy is doing as well, where even 11 days ago, he's getting a couple thousand views, getting attention. And this guy has been here for, he only has 32 videos.
YouTube has a formula for increasing exposure. There is if you look at his thumbnails, each one of his thumbnails follow the same sort of image with a caption title into it. YouTube sees that and will rank his videos higher because of that. There are a bunch of other stuff that you can do to your videos just to structure them like that. And I can tell you, when Rook was doing the morning show, once we changed the thumbnails, we saw a dramatic increase, right? So we also played and tested with some of this stuff. There are absolutely check boxes that we need to do. And as long as we're checking all the boxes and being consistent, again, you're gonna see similar stuff as well. It might not be the first 5 videos, right? It might take a little bit, but
yeah, no, I won't expect anything until at least after 12 videos. And then as you get closer to 20, 25 videos, you should definitely start seeing something. And if you don't see anything by 20, 25 videos, you need to reassess and see what you're doing and tweak something.
Shift it up. Exactly. You nailed it. So you have the perfect mindset on it. And we've got some solid models. I have a couple of other good models too outside, which Here, let me put it this way. I would invite you to look at people's YouTube channels, some of the biggest ones, like those vloggers and those influencers and stuff like that. They have also cracked the code. And you will see, like, if you went and looked at, I don't know, David Dobrik's YouTube channel, he was one of the bigger ones a few years ago.
David who?
David Dobrik. So he's the third option there in the search. Yeah. So when we look at the thumbnails, I'm guessing it's going to be very similar. Oh, Mr. Beast should have been the example instead. Let's look at Mr. Beast. Let's look at Mr. Beast.
He uses 5th grade tactics, but let's look at him.
By the way, big fan of 5th grade tactics.
They work.
So when you scroll down, each one of his thumbnails is purposefully, you see the cutout with his face and the timing, they're all purposefully done like that because he sees that it gets more views, right? And YouTube algorithms see that and they boost him. So it's a good example of, obviously he does not do the same type of content we do, but we can still structure our content like him, and it will absolutely, like, that will help boost us on YouTube just right out the gate.
And so this is a good idea for you. Like, if you're looking for your competitors, look for people who do what you do. You look for people who are trending and you start making videos. And I can show you, how to make these videos and do what we're doing here as well for your business. But yeah, no, this is cool. This is exactly what we do. I'm just trying to, so now you have an idea of what I'm doing here. And I know what you're talking about. Lewis is going to be the guy you really want to talk to.
Sure.
About what you're doing. I
feel like we just talked about two different sides of the same coin too. So mine was all outbound direct marketing. This is a form of inbound organic marketing, right? Which we never say we should do one or the other. It should be both. We should absolutely be doing both of them.
Exactly. So when Root gave me this idea about going down the road with Google SEO, Google paying for ads, I wasn't against that, but I'm thinking ahead of how can I subsidize that with the organic leads so that even though I'm paying, I'm being offset with organic leads that are paying for the ones that I'm having to pay for.
Yeah, it should, right? Obviously, the ones we pay for should be wildly profitable for us. Otherwise, we got to adjust the ads. But eventually, the conversation ends up shifting. Once organic can be much more powerful than ads because of once you reach terminal velocity, it's exponential growth. Once you reach 100,000 followers, it's way easier to get to 200,000.
That's what I'm chasing.
Right? So once you get to that point, the paid marketing shifts to more protect the brand, buy your name in ads so other people aren't buying your keywords, right? So it just shifts. So once we get to that point in organic, that's awesome, right?
Yes.
It just, the marketing would just shift around a little bit. But all of this is, this is amazing stuff.
So what I'm showing in part also this because I'm getting ready to also put a design team together. I know that that the YouTube automators, they've given me a place here. I'll show you what they've done. YouTube automators, they've given, this is the 3.0. The 3.0 is here. Yes, cool. If I go to their classroom, and they've given now like a freelancer database. I've never opened this actual page before, but they're helping us to find the team. Oh, well, they had more information right there. See here below, I guess the freelancers, the niches, they haven't broke it down. So we go through the table, they're going to be aligning us with people. Now, maybe people that are, or you can recommend that are good with, for example, doing thumbnails, or if I was to provide a video such as the one I just showed you, that they could I'll provide the voiceover rides. All they need to do is change out the video content, add video special effects. So
hi,
if you haven't,
my name's Nighthawk and I'm at Blink. Nice to meet you.
So you're volunteering. Right? So tell me what your prices are, whatever, and let's try to work something out so that, if you see something, I would love to be able to, obviously have it where we're doing something long-term, building this out and making sure that this is just going the right way,
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll put it on Rook's radar. I absolutely know we have more than the capability to design and edit that stuff. So if that is something that you guys want us to do, we absolutely can. But if not, obviously happy to help guide it as well, right? So whatever.
I'm all about eventually having you guys do 100% of it. But I also know that everything takes money. So I do the work myself. I get it going. And once I get the residual money, I can either start paying you more, or when it goes viral, I'll have the money to say, hey, there's enough money in here for me to pay your salary. Just keep it going. Because at the end of the day, I'm paying you, but I'm getting the leads. I don't care if you get the money, you get all the money from the channel. Frankly, if it's $1 million, you better be paying me something. But my point is that I'm making these channels not for me to make the actual cash from. I'm looking for the leads. But YouTube wants to pay me for the channel. That's a bonus.
Of course.
And that's what I'm looking at as the stipend, or the amount of money that's going to allow me to keep paying someone like you to keep doing the job. So I'm doing right now the grunt work, building up these channels so that when they start making money, I can start delegating people like you and start getting people who demand big dollars to do better jobs. Look at what this guy did before, and he has it's monetized for whatever it is, for however long he's been doing it, it's monetized. But if we can improve the quality and we come back stronger and bigger with all the tech companies have, we're gonna blow this guy out of the water. This guy has no competition for what we're doing here. There's no reason why we can't blow this out in 12 to 25 videos with the right people, especially when we're talking with Landfall, Clover, and we have all these tech companies here that are with us. I mean, what are we doing? There's got to be something we're missing. We're missing something if we're not able to beat what they're doing. So, Mike, now that I found a competitor, I'm bringing it forward because I now have an expectation, something that I can look at and say, hey, we need to do what they're doing, but do what they're doing better. Totally. And they're not even doing that great of a job. They are doing a good job, but they're not taking that extra step. They're content. They're happy. You can see it. It can be better.
Word. Let's do it.
Awesome. So, I'm
have to get wrapped up here in a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Well, listen, yeah, that's good, man. So we're done, I think. If there's any questions for Tammy, maybe Sonia. Sonia, do you have any questions for Nighthawk here?
I'm gonna send you guys the document to look over on your end as well. So if any questions come up, feel free to shoot me an email.
Ray, you have any questions? I mean, you're into marketing, Ray. If you have a single question here for him, we could resume this next week when we're here with Cap Ladder, Lewis, and Donald. We'll do this again with hopefully some other people talking about some other marketing angles. But no questions, Nighthawk. I don't have an animal name yet.
I'm good.
I don't know what the sound of cash is, but just go to ching ching. I don't know.
There you go. There you go. That's my animal too. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Nice seeing you, Sonia. Nice to Nighthawk. We'll catch you soon. Send me the recorded video, please. Send me a copy.
I'm going to tell Rook has it. I will tell him to send it to you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Next week. Oh, do you have an idea of what the calendar? Oh, no, you're not Emily. Only Emily knows. All right. Take care.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
Bye, Tammy. Bye, Tammy. Hi, Justin. Bye, Justin.
When will I hear from you, Sonia?